Well, I'm excited to be joined here with our women's golf coach, Kelli Kamimura. Kelli, welcome to our discussion about AAPI Heritage Month. I'm glad you could make some time for us.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here, and it's a special topic to me, so looking forward to chatting about it.
Can you tell our audience one what you do for Washington State, how long you've been here, and then out of the AAPI broad spectrum, what group do you identify with the most?
Yeah, I'm the women's golf coach here. I've just finished our 12th season. And, for me, I'm half Japanese. And so my dad is Japanese and born and raised in Hawaii. I'm third generation here in the US. And my mom is Caucasian and born in Washington. So have strong roots in the state. And yeah, just really proud of my culture and my family and where I come from.
For those who don't know, Kelli is a legendary junior golfer in the state of Washington. I don't have to go far on a golf course to hear the history of Kelli and golf in the state. And we're fortunate to have her lead our team that probably by no coincidence is one of our most diverse teams annually in our athletic department. And she does a wonderful job leading a program that in normal years, the pandemic has affected college athletics significantly, and we're no different at Washington State. But in normal years, this is a team that's aimed and poised to compete in the NCAA tournament, and one of the programs we're most proud of. So, Kelli, let me jump right into the questions, and feel free, we can riff any way you want to go to. But what does Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month mean to you specifically?
I mean, for me, it's a time to reflect, a time to really be proud of my culture and, just the AAPI community. And it's a time to reflect and take pride in where I've come from and my family, and really honor a really special group of people and celebrate.
I know in my household, because my parents, I was born in the United States, born in Ohio. But my parents came here in the late 60s, and they actually chose to try to assimilate as fast and hard as possible. We didn't even speak Korean in our own household. But our Korean heritage was always prevalent because in a Korean household, it's very patriarchal, and my dad ran the house, and he actually taught Taekwondo, which is a Korean martial art. How prevalent was your Japanese heritage in your household growing up?
Culturally, we grew up with a lot of Japanese culture. Like you shared, the family hierarchy, a lot of pride, a lot of honor, really, reflecting that everything you do is not just a reflection of yourself, but of your family. But my dad does not speak Japanese. I don't speak Japanese. I've tried several times to learn. I know some basic words. It's something that, I look to in the future, really. I would like to learn how to speak Japanese, but same as you in our household, we didn't speak Japanese, but we did celebrate the culture and embody a lot of what my dad was taught from his parents.
So one of the biggest academic mistakes I made in my life, because we didn't speak it, but I thought I knew Korean enough just from the limited times we did speak Korean at my household. And when I was in college, they offered Korean. So I took that as my elective for a language. That was the dumbest decision I ever made in my life. Because once you get through 101, you got to go all the way through.
Yeah.
And it was a nightmare. Just reading is different. But I believe I know enough. I always thought when I know enough Korean where I think I could survive like reading at a first grade level.
Yeah.
I never spoke it. I never spoke around our girls. And I remember we were at a hotel somewhere when they were really young. And we were going up the elevator, and there were some Korean people in the elevator, and they started talking to me in Korean, and I answered them. And they looked at me like I had 10 heads. Like, are you you never spoke Korean in front of us your entire life? But that's probably the extent. I tell them I can survive if I had to. If I got dropped off in the middle of South Korea, I could probably survive. So let me ask you this, specific to college athletics, what does it mean? Because at the end of the day, you've had a decorated college career. You're a decorated coach. What does it mean to you to represent the AAPI community in college sports?
I take a lot of pride in that. I think in a sport like golf, there are a lot of AAPI members that play golf, but I take a lot of pride in just being able to showcase the work ethic, the culture, a lot of the values that have been instilled in me since I was really young, and bring that to coaching, bring that to being an athlete. And I take a lot of pride in that. There's a lot of honor in our family. My dad was a coach. He was actually a baseball coach in the small community we grew up in. So around town, people would call him Coach K. So it's kind of, it's just something that I've really been around and want to carry forward to help to inspire other women, other, AAPI members to be proud and to seek their dreams.
So the whole package of you as a coach, one, you represent, you're in two underrepresented groups, I guess three when you count them, women in coaching, ethnic minority, and a mom. So whether you know it or not, you inspire your not only your student athletes, but a bunch of people in and around our athletic department in the community. But I know the most important group that you need to inspire is your student athletes. How do you wrap your mind around that role, just that the responsibility you have as a head coach, because you are a role model, because you are a walking piece of inspiration, because you are a person who represents, hey, I am trying to do everything that I want to do. It is not easy by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm making it work some way, somehow. I'm making it work. How do you wrap your mind around that inspiration you give to your student athletes when they look at you and they see that?
I think for me, I just really keep focused on, my mission in life is to impact and inspire other people. So I look at the vehicles in which I can do that as a responsibility. And I think being real and really not just showcasing the great parts of being a coach and a mom and a female, but also like being real about what some of the challenges are and how you overcome those, and really setting the tone that those roadblocks are part of life, but it's how you respond to them. And so being a good example, being real, I love talking with people and sharing what I do. And I love, I really like that college age group because they've got a lot coming at them and they're managing a lot. And it's just, for me, it's really inspiring to show them that this time, you want to develop as an athlete, but also, and a student, but also who you are. And it give them something to dream about that's maybe outside of where their primary focus is with most of these athletes, and that's turning professional. So how do you keep them inspired to fulfill that dream, but also let them know there's other ways that they can use their skill set to, to do something really awesome and to inspire other people.
That's awesome. Can you recollect, has there been a time in your life when race created a challenge for you and how you overcame it?
For me, one of the things that really stands out is just the pronunciation of my last name. I think that, I can remember times being at golf tournaments when I was younger, and they would say Kelli, and then they'd be like Toyota, Suzuki, any Asian car manufacturer you can think of. And I remember some of those moments, and because my family takes such pride in our last name, and my grandparents, mom and dad, they came over to work in the sugarcane fields from Japan in Hawaii, and to make a different name for our family. And so I look at that. And so and even being married, I still have my last name because it means so much to me. And so, for me, those kinds of things at the time, I didn't really think about it. But as an adult, I look back and think, oh, I know why that impacted me a little bit, because I'm so proud of who I am and where I come from. And that kind of felt like someone diluting that.
Which is very, very real. I tell my daughters not to be like the old man, get off my lawn, but I tell them a lot of the things that were tolerated when I was growing up, you can't even get away with today.
Yeah.
Difference is you hear people say, well, there was a time and a place where it was okay to say stuff like that. Well, there really never was. Yeah. It's just now that people that were underrepresented in the past or in those categories have a bigger platform, have a stronger voice, have a better understanding of the negative impact of that words can have, especially on young people. I'm glad that, and maybe a little bit because we live in a wonderful community like Pullman. My daughters have not faced anything like I had to or you had to, but even something as it's something, because you're absolutely right. There is pride in your last name. There's pride in being a part of this country. Our parents, our ancestors made decisions to be a part of this country. And, you wouldn't get other people's last names wrong on purpose or mock them. So, yeah, so those are things. Fortunately, I mean, obviously, I'm not naive to the fact that they probably still don't happen today, but at least the prevalence of you doing things like that just don't seem to exist today like they used to.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, what do you think has improved for Asian Americans or Pacific Islanders since you've started your career as a coach or in higher ed?
I think just increased opportunity, really valuing people and valuing our differences. And, I think that there's been more and more coaches that are part of the AAPI community. There's a lot of athletes in golf. Golf is a sport that's very popular in Asia. And so there's just a lot more representation and a lot more opportunity. And I think it's exciting. I think in the coaching realm, I'm excited to see more and more, student athletes and more people entering that. And so it's just something that's been really positive, and I look forward to seeing more and more opportunity in the future.
Yeah, I take pride in breaking stereotypes, and one of them is I am a Korean that is a bad golfer. So that is a stereotype that I wish I couldn't. I wish I didn't break, but I'm proud when I stand at the first tee. I'm like, you've seen great Koreans on TV. I am not one of them by any stretch of the imagination in the sport of golf. What advice would you give someone trying to break into the sports industry right now?
I think, just keep focused on your dream and keep working hard. I mean, it's a lot of heart and a lot of hustle, giving yourself that opportunity and waking up every day and choosing to be extraordinary and really focusing on what you want and not stopping until you get it. And, working hard and doing things the right way.
Is there something you're most proud of from your family heritage?
I think it's just the work ethic that was instilled in me. My grandparents, they owned a flower farm in Hawaii. And so my grandfather worked for the government. He managed the parks. And then my grandma would cut anthuriums and orchids and different flowers. And my dad, actually, to help us play golf, help fund it. He was a school teacher. Him and my mom were both school teachers and worked really hard, but they would send flowers every Thursday night. We'd get, 10 boxes of flowers and unpack them. And my sister and I helped with that. And then every Saturday from the time I was 6 to 11, till I technically really started playing golf, I would wake up at 4 a.m. and go with my dad to deliver flowers to different florists in Seattle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I really, my dad and my mom both are very hard workers, but that time with my dad was really special. I learned a lot about Hawaiian flowers. Yeah. But I also learned a lot about our culture and working hard. And if you have a dream and there's something or someone or an obstacle, find a way around it. And it's been a really special time to reflect on that time I did get with my dad. And then not only my dad, but my family in Hawaii, to learn more about their business.
Do you have a favorite traditional meal or holiday growing up relative to your ethnic background?
I do really like sushi. There was a period of time where I didn't think I couldn't really pinpoint a food I liked. I didn't love sushi for a long time, but now I do. But when I was little, teriyaki chicken is something that we eat a lot of, and my dad always has a pot of rice. And since he's very health conscious, so it used to be white rice and now it's changed to brown rice. Wow. But I think, it was always special to go back and celebrate Christmas, and New Year's in Hawaii and in Japan is very big. So learn how much, it was always interesting when we'd go back, and New Year's was a bigger deal than Christmas. And then when I was with my family in Washington, Christmas is a bigger deal than New Year's. So, fun to celebrate those differences and learn more about them.
Well, Coach, I appreciate the time we spent and really you sharing your backstory with us. We're fortunate to have you here at Washington State. You are a role model to many, but most especially those student athletes. And we're proud of you, Kelly. Because of the pandemic, I don't see you as much as I used to. But there is sincerity is when we talk about you as a coach, we see what you do with your team, but we also know, hey, that's pretty awesome when you balance life, family, coaching a team, and trying to compete at the highest levels, but raise a family at the same time. I mean, you got to be a very special person to do that if that's you, our coach. So thanks for all you do for Washington State, and go Cougs.
Yeah, go Cougs. Thank you. Love being here and love being part of the team. So I love what I do. And yeah, thank you for the opportunity. And it was nice to chat with you.